Hello everybody, and welcome back to another one of these invisible nightmares. Now, I've got a story for you today that is just a little bit more out there. It's not a game that actually exists, so you can't go find it and buy it on the shelves, but if you're lucky and dig around like our protagonist, you might actually find yourself faced somewhat with this game. So with that said, I bring to you a jumble of letters. It's been about a month since I followed that link. It still sends chills down my spine whenever I think about it. Let me explain. Some time ago, I was browsing some 4chan's ripoff V-board and came across a thread whose title was simply a mass of random keys, as if someone had punched a keyboard a few times, and the text was much of the same. But it had several letters repeated with what I thought was random text thrown in. So since I had too much time on my hands and WordPad open, I decided to get rid of the repeated letters. Surprisingly, it turned out to be a link without punctuation. It was still a mass of letters, but the HTTP and .com were too hard to ignore, so I got some free antivirus and prepared for the worst. The site was full of ads, so I came back with ad blocker enabled. Once ad blocker was on, the site was just block orange, with a small download link in the center. I clicked it, and a zip file entitled 432B was downloaded. Once unzipped, the file contained two things: a .gba file and copy of Visual Boy Advanced to play it with. So I fired up the emulator and started to play 432b.gba. It played okay, but the turbo button didn't work. The graphics were much like that of Final Fantasy Advance 6, but it was not the same game. Instead of a developer name screen, it simply cut to a title, and play was the only option. So I pressed X to select it, and it cut to another black screen for about 4 seconds. It loaded a young boy wearing something like that of Link's outfit, but it was a muddy brown color instead of the usual green. The premise of the game was simple: run away from a pack of wolves, or die by getting eaten, which turned out to be pretty fun. I really didn't see this as creepy, but then again, I'm not one of those paranoid creepypasta protagonists. After eventually being chased down and killed a couple of times, I noticed something after about the 5th death. The screens where the wolves could be seen eating you were getting longer, and the character was growing thinner and thinner, and became slower and slower. The wolves would stay the same speed, however. I wondered if it was possible by this logic to die before the game even began. After about 50 tries, the characters looked near death by the time the screen had faded in on him, and the wolves pounced the moment that I gained control. The screen stayed on the wolves feasting for a good 20 seconds and then cut back to the menu, which had changed to add a continue to it. Selecting this simply brought the camera back to the wolves eating the boy, but it lasted about a minute. Afterwards, the wolves turned away to show a skeleton of the boy, mostly picked clean. Trying again would simply pan to the skeleton for a minute, while the wolves would howl. The game booted me back to the menu, and a bonus was now an option. I selected it, and it was a close-up of the boy's corpse, still done within the limitations of the Game Boy Advance graphics. Other pieces of art were very much the same, showing the corpse in various states of decay. The last picture was much different. It was a wolf, foaming at the mouth, with glowing red eyes and glistening teeth. As I exited to the menu, I heard a snarl come from the speakers. I decided to hit play again, but it just started at the point where I got eaten instantly. Upon exiting the emulator, the file deleted itself. Shame, I thought, as it was a really creepy and also quite fun. When I returned to the site, the post was different. It had the same title, but there was no text. And the picture was that wolf with the red eyes. It sent shivers down my spine whenever I thought about it. And occasionally, while I do other things, I will hear howls from my speakers, and sometimes a snarl. As I exited to the menu, I heard a snarl. Snarl?